right? So what we're going to work on today is transitioning in side control with a couple different attacks. Reason is, side control is great, not the world's most dominant position though, as we saw last week on Tuesday. A lot of different options to re-guard, get back in, and do things that I don't appreciate. So we're going to work on where can you go, where should you go, and when you go those places, how do you attack? Right? So I'm here, I'm in side control, I get here, I'm secure, right? But let's say for whatever reason I either need to score or I just want to start progressing or make him open up. Because a lot of guys, when you get to side control, will clam up right here. Super defense sets in, they're just going to turtle mode. They're not going to extend anything because they don't want to make the big mistake to give you mount or anything else. So we're going to work first on popping up to knee on belly, hitting that transition. So when I'm here, I generally like to, if I'm no gi, cup the hip. If it's gi, I grab the pants right here. But no gi, I'm going to just basically cup his hip up. It's the simplest grip I can set here. My other hand, I'm capping his shoulder right to his collarbone and keeping control of this part of his arm. So that way when I transition here, I'm going to pop here. Now, a couple details on the pop-up leg. Where your knee is going to determine the pressure and the control that you're setting. The more towards his head your knee is, the more you're trying to drive weighted, pressure down, pain. The more towards his hip it is, the more you're worrying about control, position, scoring. So if I'm here, right now I'm more, this is all in James's chest. It's a lot of, hey, I don't like you that much. Here it's a lot of, I need control. What you do, and I'm leaning into James so the pressure's on him. This is how you should sit in knee on belly, just like James these days. Where your knee is determinant on what you should be doing. Does that make sense? If I want James to move, me sitting right here, he may move a little bit, but if he's comfortable in knee on belly, he's not going to do a lot. So I may go here, because that's pressure, he's going to have to push that knee, boom, I can start doing other things. So that's something you got to play with and see where you like your knee. I like mine on about that 45 off his hip. Reason is, that also is the other detail you want to focus on, which is keeping your foot tight to his body regardless where your knee is. And what I mean is, this ankle has to be attached to his body. Because if not, especially in today's game, James is going to hook that ankle, push me back, start trying to be a dick, foot lock me. Dirty foot. So, when I'm here, boom, I pop up, boom. I'm attaching that ankle is actually what hits my stop. Dragging that, shooting that knee all the way across until I hear that foot hit, boom. And I actively curl my foot in so that he can't just pull my toes up. If I just leave my foot kind of loose but close, he can still get a hold of it. So I'm here, I'm actively hooking that. Here, hands here. Outside foot, I want about shoulder height and about a little wider than shoulder width. So I don't want it way back here, and I don't want it way up close. If it's way out, anything I try to do, I have to bring it up first. If it's way too close, he's going to hook that leg and then try to start it. So I went out just that little bit, and I'm right here. Questions on this pop-up?
Is the pop-up separate, or is that just for everyone?
You can slide to knee on belly. I will tell you it is much less successful. So like for me, like I'll see guys that will kind of do that. You can do it yeah, like most people, the second your knee starts to come up to their hip, it's gonna start getting a lot harder, where you almost have that element of surprise in that moment where you can get here and get your hands set. Like for me, the way I will set up my knee on belly, I'll slide way up here, and I'll start working this hands to the hips to make him think I'm starting to do something to go to mount, and I'll use that to pop up. Up close magic, it's my favorite thing. Look, I'm doing something over here. Just kidding, it's actually this hand. So I'm going to move his legs, I'm going to hand fight a little bit and use that to set my pop-up, and that's going to allow me to attack. Questions on this? most of you guys have been here for more than 7 seconds, so we're just going to move on to the next piece and drill it together. So when I'm here, all I'm going to do, drop my knee down, ankles up, windshield wiper across, get to the other side, just like the warm-up drill. The big detail on this one is where your hands go. Hands are going both sides of his shoulders and capping. So that way when I drive my knee in, all my weight's on my knees, my hands are keeping me balanced. And you should be able to transition back and forth. For those of you playing sport jiu-jitsu, it's 2 and 2 or 3 and 3 depending on your turn. Easy way to score quick points if you can, especially if you get confident in your own belt. If not, guess what? It's going to set up the attack we're going to work next. So once you guys get used to the pop-up, transition, pop down to that side, pop up on that side. Make sense?
So, I guess why would you want to transition to the other side so it's on belly? If you're losing balance in transition, or
Losing balance, he's countering your better side, setting up an attack. We're going to be your 4 minutes. I get up here, James starts pushing my knee. Don't touch my knee. He's countering me, right? Let's say I'm here, and let's say he starts really bucking and moving. Okay, I'm here. Great, I'm on, I've stopped that bucking motion for a moment. Let's say I'm on this side, and I hate arm barring this side. Black belt, I can, but I don't like it. Okay, come here. Now I'm on my dominant side. You're like, variety of reasons. Some of it may be score. I need to score. I'm down big, James ass is out. He's impossible to sub, right? JJ's a pain in the ass to sub. If I'm going to turn in against him, I'm racking points first. Because subbing him is going to take a lot of time, effort, and struggle. So if I'm here, what I want to do is, okay, I'm going to get here, boom, I know I scored. Boom, scored, okay. Scored, okay. Now, like, I racked up 8 points there in a 12-second block. Perfect. Now we go to work. Variety of tactical and technical reasons, but it's going to vary depending on what's going on, as always. Make sense? Like I said, the most common one is going to be scoring. Second most is setting whatever attack. Because what I will do is I will transition back and forth to get you to extend it on. I'll come here. Most guys will turn into me, start countering in. That's perfect. I'll transition this side. He starts to do that. I will use it to get you turning, and that turning will allow me to attack. Make sense?
yeah.
That's why, if you see me starting to do it, I'm either being a dick, always an option in the gym, or I'm using it to set something.
In most tournaments, would they set a limitation to how many sides?
Yes, you get one side, one per side. Unless they reestablish an offensive position. So, I'm here, James lays down. 2, 2. James shrimps. Oh, he gets half guard. Okay, ooh, bop. 2, 2. But if I just transition back and forth, 2 and 2, then fuck you. Congrats. Patient point for keeping going, but that's it. So that just depends on what they do as the counter, but for the most part, you score once per side, then you're done. Other questions? Ready to fill her out? Cool.
Can I see do the pop up and then yell belly like instant pass and
So here. Boom. Right here. Oh, we're working. Score my points. Down. Boom. Pop up. So, my hand that's posted, I will always have head side.
Yeah, that one, not that one.
This one
Yeah.
depends on what I'm trying to do.
Oh,
Attacking hands. Generally I'm using this to address whatever problems arise from being viewed. So most common escape is going to be, right, pushing the knee, hip escaping it, right? using this to stop all that bullshit. But if he's not doing that and is kind of content with letting this happen, I'll go hip, knees, just depends on what I'm trying to do. This is addressing problems, this is controlling the head and chest. Make sense? 1, 2, 3. So we're gonna use this transition here to set up one of my favorite arm bars. So boom, I get here, pop. I'm here, and like I said, I'm sitting into James only because it relieves pressure for him. Your weight and pressure on your legs. So when I'm here, what a lot of guys are going to start to do is extending their hands to either push your knee or push your hip to relieve pressure, right? They're here. A lot of guys will try to hip out and push the hips over. Boom, he's trying to go this way, right? Other guys are going to try to start pushing your knee here and try to start pushing it out this way so that way they can escape this side. Regardless of which one he does, he has to extend this hand just a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit. And that little bit is where you fucked up, Ron. That's where I get you wrong. So boom, I get here. Regardless of what he does, he's going to have to extend his hands. All I'm going to do, if it's no gi, I'm cupping the back of his elbow. Gi, you can grab the wrist up here, or you can actually grab into like the cup this way. No gi, I'm going to cup this elbow. I'm going to use this hand to slide my knee up into James's chin here. As I do that, I'm going to hook the back of his arm with this foot. Right? Now, what that's going to allow me to do is step my foot over and pinch my knees. Now, in no gi, you can hit this quickly, and it's already in right there. Gi, sometimes you have to fall back, extend, and finish the arm here. But once you get to here, all you have to focus on, pinching that knee, falling backwards here. So I'm here, boom, everything's happening, bop, I get here. See how James naturally already puts his hand up to try and relieve that pressure and off balance my hips. All I'm doing, pulling that elbow up, slide this foot up, step over. Now you can finish going over the top if you're confident in your arm bar. So if you're confident here and you think, boom, I can come up here, great, finish from on top.
How do you finish on top?
Boom, literally like this. You attach this to your chest, boys pee for distance. Literally, that's all you do, drive your hips forward, pinching those knees. If you're not as confident in that, or you feel like, hey, it's just not where I need it to be, fall towards his hips, hook that head, fall backwards. Make sense?
You have to continue to hook the hip from the leg all the way down.
I keep it hooked because I have shin in on this side, which makes it to where I can't control his body. So think about it this way. In a normal arm bar, if James starts to run his feet away from me, this keeps his chest where I need it to be. He can run his hips away and still counter, but this foot allows me to have a lot more control. If I'm shin in, like this arm bar is, his chest can get away from me a lot quicker, which makes finishing that arm bar harder. Which is why when I fall, I keep a hold of this hip. Because now if he tries to run away, boom, it allows me to keep kind of that claw grip to that hip. Keeps that from going. Some guys will actually like scoop the legs up or hook here. You can do all that. I like just keeping this hook. Make sense? Other questions on this?
I have tried that, and I feel like I can get the arm bar without foot over his head.
Yes. So can you? So can you go double shinning? Yes. Would I? No. So is it technically wrong? No. Can you hit an arm bar like this? Yes. I can hit this, right? Here's why I don't. You don't have control of the head or the body at that point. I want to have control of at least one, ideally both. That's why I have this. That's why I put the emphasis on this hand.
You have to be really strong.
Yeah, your knee pinch and everything else better be perfect if you're gonna go double shinning. I would recommend boom here. And when I step that foot over, I actually like to hook his head down and out a little bit. Helps the arm bar just be that extra bit of tightness. So when I hammer that foot down, I just kind of scoop his head down and out. That way, it kind of torques his neck while I'm arm barring you. that added bit of discomfort just makes it harder to count. Yes, sir.
When you go from knee on belly to kind of sliding your shin into their arm, I'm assuming that's really fast.
Yeah, this-
holding them there.
Yeah, so at that point, it's a ba-ba type. I can get to knee on belly and hang out. The second I decide we're in armbar city, it all happens kind of at it is. It's like I'm here, I'm working, boom. I should be here pretty quickly. The only thing I will tell you, be careful as you get used to this. His arm's in a really bad spot from jump street here. So as you do this, do it slow like I was at first. Because if you fall back too quickly or anything on this, you can pop an elbow pretty quickly. Does that make sense? So yes, when you go to this slide up, like some submissions we'll walk into, like the next one, transition we'll work on. Really simple head and arm choke, and you're going to slowly trail your way into. This isn't that. This one you want to, there's a little bit of speed and aggression to it. Make sense? Other questions? 1, 2, 3. Over here. Let's assume I get here. And let's assume from either knee on belly or just I want to transition to mount or to the far side here. Let's assume any of those are true here. One of the biggest things that's going to happen to you guys when you're transitioning to mount or to that far side is you're going to come up here, here, and then your foot's going to get caught. You're going to be like, hey, Dustin, why the hell does my foot get caught? Every freaking time. You're passing your knee too low. Now, when I pass my knee across, what a lot of you guys try to do is take it across this hip line. Nip, across the nipples. When I cross this knee across, I'm doing it at the height of his chest here. Because if I drive here, think about it this way. He's got to move my foot, what, 6 inches? If that. And when I go to here, it's actually kind of halfway doing it myself. So when you try to hit that windshield wiper transition, half the time your foot's going to get caught just because it's there. Not even that he's doing anything. Just naturally, if he just kind of closes his knees, he's got it. So when I come here, I'm going to sheet myself up even just that little bit. And one thing I like to do if I'm going for mount especially, is I like to just bring this hand up as high as I can. Like I'm trying to wave. That's going to allow me to drive this knee right across to his chest. Boom, here. Now, depending on your game, you can stay up in high mount, attack arms. Or, if you prefer, boom, transition back, low mount, attack chokes. And that is the technical difference of where you want to be depending on your attacking style. If you're trying to attack someone choke-wise, you want to have your hips lower. If you're trying to attack arms, you want to change to higher. Does that make sense? Now, let's say, oh my gosh, I'm in knee on belly. How do I transition him out? Guess what? If you leave your foot straight across his hips and try to just windshield wiper, he's going to catch it. So when I'm here, all I'm going to do is do that same slide like I'm coming up for the arm bar. Still hit that windshield wiper across. I'm just sliding that foot up, windshield wiper out. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, let's say for whatever reason, I think, man, I want to go to mount, or I just want to transition up. But let's say I also want to be attacking this entire time. All I'm going to do is I'm going to walk this hand as far forward as I can. As soon as this arm starts to come up, I'm going to duck my head into his armpit. Here. Alright. Now, for me, I'm still going to cheat up, come in to this mount here. Once I set into this position, now we're going to work the head and arm choke. The one choke none of you can hit because none of you hit it technically correctly. So, when I'm here, as soon as this hand comes in, we'll reach across and cap his shoulder here. Once we get here, I'm going to cap my hand here. I'm going to squeeze in. What a lot of you guys try to do is drive your weight up and across. And when you drive your weight up, it drives it through their chin, which causes discomfort, but does not actually cause me to tap. So when I'm here, I'm driving my weight down. And that's how you get the tap. But let's say I'm here, and I don't think I can hit it from this side. All I'm going to do, keep this shoulder cap here, drive the knee across. Once we get here to the far side, My back knee goes into the hip. My bottom or my top knee slides out here. Squeeze down. Slow, steady squeeze. Much tighter than it looks, isn't it? My weight, my shoulder is doing 90% of the choking. My hand just has to be in position. So when I'm here, if you're like, man, my choke's not in, couple options to modify. Here, dig this hand inward. Here. Or if you feel his chin kind of in the front of your shoulder, you're gonna drive his chin up. Once you feel that chin come out, still grabbing my hand here, driving my shoulder through. Questions on this? So I want you guys to use that transition to mount a couple times. Once you get that, then use that, use the trap the arm, position for that head and arm choke. You can still transition to mount. I use that as a threat to get to mount. Hey, I'm gonna head and arm choke you. You should probably let me mount you. And once I get there, I can decide, hey, do I actually want to commit to the choke, or is he defending well enough and do I want to transition?
So when you're in position on the side, you're not actually driving your head weight into their shoulder.
So when I'm here, my shoulder is going down. All my weight is coming down and through their choke, and I'm pulling this hand up. So when I'm here, everything's trying to close this trunk. Down and through. So when I'm here, a lot of people will like drive their head and their weight, and they're like, this is gonna choke him. All I'm doing is driving all his body weight that way. Now, if the choke isn't working, that's how you go to the next choke, the gorilla choke. But if you're trying to hit the actual true head and arm, here. This is how you're supposed to. Does that make sense? Because if you try to drive your weight across his throat, yeah, you may get a little bit of blood, but you've got that little bit of blood to sacrifice the air and the other blood. Where if I hit this squeeze right, I should have blood on the far side, air, little bit of blood on this side. It's not going to be a perfect 3 for 3, but it's 2.5, 2.25. So when I'm here, that's why this is more important coming down than it is driving across. And none of you will still be able to hit it on this side. I'll let you start the position. Other questions?
Yeah, I got one. Can you show how to get the arm back over there?
So we're here.
No, like how to get his arm, like how to get his arm across his own face.
Oh, it doesn't have to be across his face. It just can't be in my way. Like if I'm here, like a lot of people think their arm has to be way over here. You can use some stuff over there, but when I'm here, actually, as long as his hand isn't framing out pressure this way, which really most people will go to the telephone and they don't hit it right, so it still works. Because if you don't frame the elbow out on the telephone, it doesn't actually work. So a lot of people just grab their phone here and hold, and they're like, oh, this will protect me. Not if they know how to squeeze. They're not even squeezing hard. So I'm not as worried about that. That slows it down, but it doesn't, if you're in good position, it doesn't stop what you're doing. Make sense? If it's in your way, realize, cap the shoulder. You can grab here and address problems. But most of the time it's not in your way enough if you're doing the squeeze right. What most people do is fuck up the squeeze. They rock and then drive their feet forward, like they're trying to run through it. So the most common mistake I see on this choke is everyone's like they're literally trying to run through the choke, and I cannot figure it out. Sink down, close this choke.
We'll be careful with James because he kind of trolls his body.
Alright? Yep. So I'm here. Boom. I get to side control. Let's say I get this hand up. All I'm going to do is try to position it to where I can get my head here. Once my head's here, now I can get nuzzling in, get that across. But even if it's just here, he's going to be trying to get his hand in front. That's fine. Boom, I transition high across his chest for that mount. Boom, once I get here, that's where I'm in position for this jump. Here, now I'm going to come up, slide that foot through, here. Once I get here, roll this leg out, squeeze.
You'll be able to finish with just a mount.
Yes, you can finish this from mount. If they're tough, it'll be a little bit harder. But like I said, I like transitioning off anyway. Because if I transition off, it gives me my next two options, which is what we're going to work on Thursday. So it's not just that choke, then you come off to gorilla, and then you. Very important. Yeah, if I'm here, if they want to, all they're going to do is walk you into half guard. So James is going to turn into me and start dragging that foot in. Yeah. So when I'm here, he tries to drag me into that half guard, a lot harder. That's why. Other questions? Go around. One.